Hello, welcome to the How to Play video for Snowball Fight. The base deck contains enough cards for 3 players with 3 characters and the 12 action and response cards that make up each player deck. Players will move their characters around the play area and throw snowballs at each other through clever manipulation of their hands and decks. Snowballs cause splats, and if a character receives 5 or more, they get too cold to play and go home. They are out of the game. The game continues until there is only one character left, and they are the winner. The action card Run is used to move a character around the play area, and the action card Throw launches icy projectiles at your friends. The Duck response cards can help you avoid splats caused by thrown snowballs. In addition, there are several double-sided terrain cards with thin ice and snow forts, and various bonus cards which have effects when picked up. We'll discuss those in more detail later. Snowball Fight can be played on almost any available surface, and the play area can be as large as you'd like. To begin a game, create the play area by placing each player's character card, and optionally any terrain or bonus cards you wish to use during the game, onto the playing surface. All players must agree on the layout before the game starts. Each player shuffles their deck and draws 2 cards into their hand. Players then take turns playing 1 action card from their hand if able. If they can't play an action, for instance if they have 2 duck cards or a duck and a yellow snow in their hand, then they suffer a brain freeze. Their turn ends immediately and they discard and redraw their entire hand. Let's do a turn with a run action. If a player wants to move their character, they play a run action card from their hand. The card is played on the table, touching the character card and oriented in the direction that the player wants to move. Characters can move in any direction, but only in straight lines. A move action can be ended at any time, so the player could choose to stop there if they wish. In this example, they'd like to move a bit further, so they set aside the remaining card in their hand and draw cards from their deck, playing them end to end with the last card played to create the action line. The action cards played have no effect on their own, but they simply help to describe the path of the character's movement. A run action ends either when the player chooses, or it ends automatically if a second run card is added to the action line. To finish the action, move the character card from its original position to the end of the action line, then move any cards played to the player's discard pile. After resolving the player's action, the turn ends with the player drawing back up to 2 cards in their hand. If at any time a player needs to draw but has no cards in their deck, simply reshuffle that player's discard pile to refresh the deck. Play passes clockwise. Now that you've seen how to move, throwing snowballs is very similar. The Throw action card is played touching the character card and oriented in the direction the player wishes to throw, usually at one of their opponents. The player sets aside the card in their hand, then draws cards from their deck to create a throw action line. Unlike a run action, a throw only ends when a second throw card is added to the action line. The extra cards played have no effect of their own, but help describe the trajectory and strength of the throw. If the throw action line doesn't reach a target, then the throw misses. The action ends and all played cards are discarded. If the throw action line reaches an opponent's character, the throw succeeds and the target may receive 1 or more splats. Sometimes the action line will overshoot the target, but this is fine. Also, only the first opponent touched by the action line is affected. The target player has a chance to play a response card from their hand. If they have no duck cards in their hand, then they receive a number of splats equal to the total number of cards in the throw action line. Thus, longer throws are also stronger throws. In this case, the target would receive 5 splats and be out of the game. Tokens, coins, or dice can be used to mark the number of splats each character has received. If the target player does have a duck card, they can use it to reduce the number of splats they're about to receive, or possibly avoid them altogether. The duck card is played, and they set their hand aside. Then they draw cards from their deck, no need to line them up in this case, until they either draw enough cards to match the number in the throw action line, effectively canceling the throw, or they draw a second duck card which ends the response. The target player receives splats equal to the difference between the throw line and the total number of cards in the response. For instance, this character would block 3 and receive 2 splats. Those are the basic game rules. Let's look at the other stuff. Terrain cards can be used to add a bit of flavor to the play area. Snow forts and thin ice both block character movement, but only snow forts block throws, while throws sail right over thin ice. When a run line is blocked, replace the card that touched the terrain with the character card, and the player's turn ends immediately. If a throw line hits a fort, the action is cancelled and the turn ends. Bonus cards work similarly to pickup items in video games. When a move action line or a character card touches a bonus card, its effects are activated as soon as the move is completed. A sled bonus allows the player who activated it to remove one card from their deck or discard pile from the game entirely. This will increase the average effect of whichever card type you remove. For instance, if a throw card is removed, then subsequent throws will benefit from throw action lines having a chance to be longer than normal. A bucket bonus allows a player to draw an extra card at the end of their turn and select two to keep. When activated, the bucket should be placed near the player's deck as a reminder. Yellow snow works a bit differently in that it doesn't benefit the player who picks it up, but instead hurts their opponents. When activated, the player places the yellow snow card into one of their opponent's discard piles. It will enter their deck the next time they shuffle and has two different negative effects. If the card is drawn into a player's hand, it cannot be played, because it's not an action card, and cannot be discarded except during a brain freeze. If the card is drawn during an action or response, they are cancelled and the player's turn ends immediately. You should now know enough to be able to play the game. Thanks for watching, and have fun playing Snowball Fight.